There are many ways to fish, but today I will summarize the 8 most effective ways to fish. 1. For right time. When you go fishing, you don't just carry a fishing rod and you will get good results. If you want to achieve good results, you will have to rely on experiential factors to choose the best time and place to fish is the crux of the problem. Timing is always an important factor when doing any job. And the same is true with fishing. Did you know that when it rains heavily or there is strong wind, fish will often hide? Even if you drop bait into the water, they will not dare to go looking for food. On hot sunny days, due to the harsh and hot light, the fish will not come out looking for prey. The favorable time for us to go fishing is spring. Spring is the time when fish often float to the surface, so if you go fishing at this time, the fish will definitely be easily hooked. The most ideal time for fishing is 1 to 2 hours after the rain. This is the time when the fish bite is very strong. Anglers should seize this time and go fishing to ensure they will never go empty-handed. However, for each species of fish, their feeding time is different, so this is just a general time period. To know exactly what time the fish you want to catch eats, you will need to find out. Understand thoroughly the behavior of fish species. To pursue suitable fishing location. If we choose a place with a lot of fish and a strong flow of fish, we will win up to 60% of this risky game. Below are the places that are often the most worthy places for us to flirt. Tree canopy. It is not too difficult to understand. When the large canopy of trees falls into the lake in the direction of the wind, this is where fish gather and fish eat strongly, because plants, flowers, leaves and seeds are familiar natural foods for fish. Outlet and inlet drains of the lake. If the water level in this place is not too shallow, that is, about 1 meter deep or more, these are places where fish gather and swim back and forth, looking for a lot of food. The place at the end of the wind and the middle of the wind is the quietness of the lake. The end of the wind and the middle of the wind are always the places where fish eat the most. Waves are created by wind. When there is wind and waves, the fish go out to eat strongly because the water at the surface provides the fish with enough oxygen so they don't have to float up to gulp air. The silence of the lake. Have you ever gone to the lake and seen waves rolling everywhere? Suddenly there was a corner of the lake and the middle of the lake with no waves. That is where the fish gather, the most common place that people often ignore. 3. Look at the water surface and guess the amount of fish. The water surface is also a criterion to evaluate whether there are many fish in that place and whether it is suitable for you to fish or not. According to the experience of people who have been fishing for many years, if the water surface has ripples and always bubbles, there will be many fish. This bubble phenomenon appears because the fish performs the process of respiration and catching prey. Normally, before going fishing, people will determine the fishing area first. If you discover a place with many bubbles floating on the water, congratulations. You have found a potential unexplored fishing location. All you need to do is just release the rod and harvest your results. How to choose a fishing rod. The fishing rod is an important tool that determines the success of a fishing session. It is considered a powerful assistant that helps extend your arm, easily detect the activities of your prey, and increase your ability to reach and conquer the prey. However, since the advent of technology, those new to the fishing world feel extremely confused when faced with many choices. Which brand of fishing rod should they buy for each fishing purpose? Different types of fish and fishing terrain. Which type should you choose? This is truly an extremely difficult problem for some people who do not have the concept or knowledge of using fishing rods. In terms of fishing location, if fishing in the river, you should choose a rod that is about 1.6 meters to 3 meters long, and if fishing in the sea, the fishing rod should be from 3.2 meters to 4.5 meters long. Regarding types of fish, if fishing for large fish, you should use a large rod, and when fishing for small fish, use a small rod. When fishing for perch and tilapia, you should choose a bamboo rod with high flexibility. When fishing for snakehead fish, carp, Catfish, you should choose a large, strong rod. 5. Understand the living habits of fish. Each of us has a unique and different personality, interests, and strengths. No one is the same, and the same goes for fish species. There is a popular saying, know your enemy and know yourself. You will win 100 battles. Iko kwa kung ging nai hanjik. Kang tcm hiwu k vatp tin sin sin qsa kafichuko vate king tine hemjia angui. There are many types of fish. Each type has different characteristics. Some species like to live in shallow or deep waters. Some species like to live in clear or muddy waters. Some species like to live alone, individually or in groups. Some species have fast to slow feeding habits. Before going fishing, you need to determine what species of fish your target is and then learn about their habitat and behavior, from which you can accurately determine the location where they live a lot. If you know all these things, then surely choosing a fishing rod, fishing reel, bait or fishing line will no longer be a difficult problem, right? 6. Accessories come with appropriate fishing rods. Fish hooks. At places that sell fishing equipment, there will be many different types of large and small hooks for you to choose from. You should choose each type suitable for a type of fish, such as osprey hooks for fishing for sea bass, 3-pronged hooks for fishing for pineapple fish, small hooks for fishing for goby perch and perch. We should use as small a hook as possible, because small hooks will be able to hide the bait to fool the fish, and the fish will quickly take the bait. Fishing buoys. There are 2 common types of buoys, latex buoys and foam buoys. If you go fishing at night, you must have a buoy with a pole light at the top of your fishing rod. Depending on the type of fish, we can choose to fish with a float or not. Fish varieties that eat floating prey such as sea bass, barracuda, and bamboo shoots should be fished with floats. Fishing lead. There are types such as anchor lead for sea fishing, round lead used when the water is strong, square lead, sharp lead depending on the fish species and water area to choose the appropriate type of lead. Fishing line. For small fish, you should use monofilament line. For large fish, use parachute line. You should choose a type of wire whose length matches the length of the rod. 7. Per bait. For quality fishing, we need to pay attention to the bait. Bait plays a very important role in whether or not you can successfully catch fish. About fishing locations, usually when we learn, we know that there are 2 types of bait, natural bait and homemade bait. If fishing in lakes or ponds, we should use homemade bait such as industrial food, potatoes, bananas, but if fishing in rivers, sea fishing, we should use natural baits such as shrimp, worms, crickets, snails. Regarding each type of fish that eat on the surface, such as carp, tilapia usually like to eat baits such as shrimp or bananas, etc. As for fish that sink to the bottom such as barbel fish, catfish. 8. Per how to jerk a fishing rod. Not everyone knows how to pull the rod when fishing. So many people still lose their prey when the fish bites. We should pay attention to how to pull the lever as follows. Whenever you see the float go in any direction, you pull the rod in the opposite direction and the hook will stick in the fish's mouth. Whenever you see the buoy sinking suddenly and quickly, you should not hesitate, but must jerk quickly in the vertical direction. If you see the float being pulled for a short distance and then stopping, pulling the rod is just a matter of luck because the fish only takes a bite of the bait and then releases it. If the tug is too light, the bait will easily fly out of the fish's mouth. If you pull too hard, the fish will easily chip its edges and fall back into the water. Therefore, when pulling the lever, you only need to pull it moderately, neither lightly nor strongly. Once you have experience in the profession, just by looking at the buoy's position, you will be able to pick up the position of the baits below. If the buoy is upright and half floating above the water, you know the bait is floating in the water but not touching the bottom. On the contrary, if you see the buoy floating horizontally on the water surface, you know the bait has hit the bottom.